Hi, I'm Kemar McInnes, animator and brand manager at the Jamaica Animation Nation Network. For this video, we will be looking at rendering techniques. At the end of this video, you should be able to select the correct frame rate for specific videos when doing external rendering, pre-render using images, and also select sufficient codes and video file formats before you render any video. Let's have a look at the employability skills that are highlighted in this video. You will be learning how to use the appropriate technology, how to use various video compression techniques, how to solve problems pertaining to this particular topic, work efficiently, pay attention to details, as well as plan and organize your activities. This is a video that is crucial to the field of digital animation, and as such, you'll need to pay close attention to the details. Let's get started. The main benefits of rendering out as images versus rendering out as video. Now, well, there's one main benefit really, and that is, let's say you're rendering out your final video and you're rendering out as a MOV or MP4 or whatever it may be, and then the electricity goes. That file is now corrupt. There's no way you can reuse that file. You'll have to start rendering out all over again. But let's say you're rendering out using images and then the electricity goes. Now, when the electricity comes back, all you would have to do is just to continue rendering out your images where you left off. So let's say you're rendering out maybe 200 frames, and when the electricity went, it stopped at frame 100. You already have those 100 images on your computer, so when the light comes back, you can just continue from that point onward, and then at the end you just compile those images together and render out those images as a video. So that is the main benefit. So I would recommend rendering out your videos as images first, so you'd have those images as backup, just in case anything happens to your project. Let's find out about frames per second during external rendering. In this section, you will learn how to set the frame rate when creating videos, how to change the properties to render out images, and I will also discuss the problems of rendering out videos at different frame rates, as well as how to fix frame rate issues. Changing the frame rate in After Effects. To change the frame rate in After Effects, go to Composition, Composition Settings, and in the Composition Settings, scroll down to Frame Rate, and here you would be given the opportunity to change the frame rate. Now keep in mind that changing the frame rate will alter the way the video looks. So keep that in mind, because when you import a video into After Effects, it automatically copies the frame rate. So the composition that you're working with will automatically be set to the frame rate of the video. Keep that in mind. Changing the frame rate in Blender. Now changing the frame rate in Blender is really easy. Just go over into your properties window right here. Click on the camera icon. And right here, it says frame rate. All you'd have to do is just click the drop-down list and select the frame rate that you want. If the option that you want is not in the list, simply click on custom and type the frame rate that you want. In this video, I'm going to show you how to export a video as images using Blender. So the first thing that you want to do is click this icon right here and switch to video editor. So if I click on that, Blender will now take me to the video editor, and right here you see I have my video. Now to import the video into the video editor here, all you'd have to do is click on the add button right here and click on movie, and then locate the video file on your computer and click it, and just simply click add movie strip over here, and the movie would be added into Blender. Now it gets added wherever this line is. So if the line was here and you imported the video, it would be imported here. But you can automatically adjust this. So let's say you imported it just as I've done right here. Just click on the G key and grab it, and then you would be able to move it wherever you want to on the timeline. Okay, but let me just remove that because I already have my video right here. Now to export this video as a sequence of images, click on this button right here and go back to the default view. And over here in my properties, make sure you're on the camera option right here. Right here you will see resolution, and this is the width of the video. This is the height of the video. Now this is fine right here, and usually the percentage is at 50. Now if it's at 50 and you render out the video, that means the quality of the video would be at 50%. Make sure this right here is at 100, and right here is my frame rate, and it copies the frame rate from the video, so you don't have to worry. So this is already set. So if I should scroll down a bit, right here where I see PNG, click on that, and I think I'm going to use PNG. And with that set, I'm just going to choose a location where I want to put my images, and here you see I have some images pre-rendered already. So I'm just going to click accept, show you how I would render. And up here where it says render and animation, the render option would render out a still image, while the animation option would render out an animated sequence as images. So the option I want is actually animation. So if I click that, it would render out this entire video as images. And this is what the image sequence would look like when you finish rendering out. Obviously, this is not the end. I stopped it before it could finish. But yeah, you would have your images like so. So, you know, going back to the first video, if you were rendering out as a video, you know, and the electricity went, you wouldn't have the option of these images right here. You'd have to start all over again, you know. So with these images here, and let's say you wanted to continue rendering out with Blender, we stopped at frame 85. All you'd have to do is go to Blender, and right here where it says start frame, you would start at 86, and this the end frame is already set. So once you start rendering out again, it would start at frame 86 and continue to render out your images. And when you have all those images, you could just re-import them into Blender by going back to the video editor. And let me just remove this video right now and click add image. Locate the file on your computer, or the files. So these are my images right here. And if I click A, you know, A is the option to select all in Blender, and click add image strip, it would add the images as a sequence like so. Then I could go back and export this by going back to my default, and right here this time I would choose FFmpeg video, and with that option selected, I would just select the encoding option, and right here where it says container, I would change this to whatever container I want. And I'm quite fond of the QuickTime option, so I would choose QuickTime, and the codec H.264 is just fine, and I would select high quality. And let's say your video had audio. Now this is very important. If your video has audio, you'd go right here to audio codec and make sure you select the MP3 option. Okay, and that's all set, and you just go through the same process again of rendering out as if you were rendering out as images. You just click animation, but this time it would render out as a video. Let's have a look at how to render out a video as a sequence of images in After Effects. So to do so, first you have to have your video imported into After Effects, and here I have my video. The next step is to go to Composition, then select Add to Render Queue, and right here where it says Output Module, I'm just going to click on the Lossless option, and where it says Format, I'm just going to click on the drop down arrow and choose PNG Sequence, then click on OK, and right here where it says Output To, this is the location where you want to store the images. So I'm just going to click on this long name right here, and I'm just going to leave it inside this folder which is on my desktop, and click on Save, then click on Render, and it will render out this video as a sequence of images. Now let's talk about frame rate issues. Now here we have our video at a lower frame rate, and as you can see, the result is this. The video looks very much choppy. All right, so this is a common issue if you should render out your video at a different frame rate, especially one lower than the original. Now, so what I would recommend is that if you do need to change the frame rate on your video, I recommend a program called Handbrake. Now, this program, this software actually you can find online for free. Okay, so just go to Google and type Handbrake. And to use this program, you just open it up and select your video and drag the video into the software, into this dark area right here. And then all you need to do is, you don't need to change much of these settings. Well, I would recommend not touching anything that you don't understand. So right here where it says container, you could change that to either MP4 or MKV. File, this is the destination where you want to save the file after it's done. So all these are already set with the original settings, but you can go through and change whatever you want. But I recommend keeping all of this for the most part. And right here is where you'd actually change the frame rate. So again, if you need to change the frame rate, you would click here, change it to whatever you want. And the difference is right here, you click constant frame rate. So when it changes the frame rate, right, the video wouldn't look choppy. It would look as if this was the normal frame rate that it originally had. Okay, and then when you're done, you simply click start encode, and the video will export itself to the destination folder that you have set up. Let's see how much you learned by answering these questions. What are the advantages of rendering out as images before you create the final video? How do you render out a video as a sequence of images using After Effects? How do you render out a video as a sequence of images using the Blender 3D software? How does changing the frame rate affect a video? What software is recommended for converting a video to a different format while changing its frame rate? So now that you know all about rendering, let's find out about codecs and video file formats. So I'll explain what codecs are, different video file formats. I'll explain how to select different codecs, as well as how to select different video file formats when rendering out videos. When selecting a codec in Blender, you'd have to go into the properties and make sure you click on the camera icon, then scroll down to where it says PNG, change that to FFmpeg video, and then you would see encoding. So click this drop down arrow right here, and inside you will be able to see the different codecs. So here we have codec, and if I should click the drop down here, we see a list of different codecs to choose from. Now the main one that I use is H.264. It gives you a good quality of your video while keeping the file size down, right? So I would recommend using H.264. Okay, and that's pretty much how you would change the codec in Blender. And of course, you can change it to whatever codec you want. Feel free to experiment with when rendering your videos. Selecting a codec in After Effects is pretty easy. Just go to Composition, Add to Render Queue, and you'd select it when you are exporting your video. Then you would go to Output Module, click Lossless, and right here where you choose a format, let's say I choose QuickTime, Format Options, and with that selected, I'm able to choose my video codec. Right now it's on animation, but if I click this, I see a long list of codecs for me to choose. Okay, so when you select your codec, just click OK again, and select the location where you want to export your video, and then you would click Render. And that's pretty much how you would choose your codecs in After Effects. Now, let's review. Let's see how much you learned by answering these questions. What are codecs? How do you choose a codec in Blender? How do you choose a codec in After Effects? Why is it important to render a video using different codecs and compare the file size of each video? Thanks for watching this video on rendering techniques. I hope that you learned all about frames per second and using different codecs when rendering out video.